It started with a simple evening walk. Claire Whitman, a 23-year-old college student, stepped out of her apartment on August 17, 2022, around 7:15 p.m. She told her roommate she was going for a quick walk to clear her head. She never returned. There was no dramatic abduction caught on security cameras. No witnesses reported anything suspicious, no distressed phone calls. It was as if Claire had walked straight out of existence. That's what drew me to this case. I've spent the last 3 weeks deep diving into her disappearance, pulling records, tracing digital footprints, and using every OSINT, open source intelligence tool available. What I found only made things more confusing and more terrifying. The last confirmed sighting of Claire came from a CCTV camera outside a convenience store near her apartment at 7:21 p.m. She wasn't buying anything, just walking past, head down, headphones in. I pulled the footage. She looked normal. No signs of stress, no hurried pace, just an ordinary girl taking an ordinary walk. But then there's the weird part. The footage shows her passing by the store, heading towards Fairview Park, but she never comes back. And here's where things get strange. No confirmed sightings in the park. There were a few joggers and dog walkers in the area, but none recall seeing her. Her phone last pinged near the park entrance at 7:34 p.m. Then, nothing. It never connected to another tower. No social media activity. Claire was a casual Instagram user, usually posting photos of sunset walks. That night, not a single update. I checked her usual routes, her favorite spots, even reached out to people who saw her that day. No one could explain what happened. So I turned to the digital world. In cases like these, the internet is the best and sometimes scariest place to start. Using OSINT techniques, I tried reconstructing Claire's final digital footprint. Email accounts. Claire's last email was sent at 4:52 p.m. that day, a routine reply to a classmate. Her bank account showed no activity after 6 p.m. Phone records apps. Claire used an iPhone with location tracking enabled, but it shut off at 7:34 p.m. No recent Uber rides, no outgoing calls or messages. Social media. Her last Instagram message, sent to a friend at 6:39 p.m. Just a casual chat. No recent Google searches that indicated distress. Nothing pointed to a plan to run away. No signs of foul play in her digital life. So I started looking at the people around her. Claire's roommate, Sophie, mentioned something odd. 2 nights before she vanished, Claire got a call from an unknown number. She took it in her room and came out looking pale. When Sophie asked, Claire just said, "It's nothing, just some weird guy." The call didn't show up on her phone records. A VoIP call? A burner number? I ran the number through several online databases. Nothing. It was as if it never existed. Then I found something that stopped me cold. A Reddit post. On a true crime subreddit, a user named Horizon34 made a post at 2 a.m. on August 18th, the night Claire disappeared. The post title? Has anyone ever heard of people vanishing near Fairview Park? The body of the post was short. A girl I know might be missing, last seen walking near the park. No reports yet, but I have a bad feeling. If anyone has heard of weird disappearances in that area, please DM me. The post was deleted 20 minutes later. I dug deeper. The user Horizon34 had no post history, no comments, just this one single entry before the account was wiped. Who were they? And how did they know Claire was missing before anyone else? Desperate for answers, I reached out to local tech communities and managed to find someone who had access to an unlisted security camera, one not included in police reports. The footage showed a side path in Fairview Park, recorded between 7:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. on the night Claire vanished. At 7:36 p.m., Claire appears on screen, walking, headphones still in. Then something shifts. She suddenly slows down, looks over her shoulder. At 7:37 p.m., a shadow appears further down the trail. It's not clear, just movement, a vague figure. Claire stops. Her body language changes. She seems tense. Then, at 7:38 p.m., the footage cuts out. Not static, not corruption, just gone. The recording resumes 2 minutes later, but Claire is nowhere to be seen. And neither is the shadow. This case isn't cold yet. There's still time to find answers. I'm still chasing leads. I have questions. Who was Horizon 34? What happened in the missing 2 minutes of footage? Why hasn't Claire's phone been found? Something happened that night. Something deliberate. If you have any information, drop a tip, anonymous or not. Because people don't just disappear. Not like this. I couldn't shake the feeling that Claire's disappearance wasn't random. The shadow on the surveillance footage, the eerie Reddit post from a now-vanished user, the disconnected phone records, it all pointed to something premeditated. So I took my investigation deeper. There are places on the internet that aren't indexed by Google. Places where missing person cases sometimes resurface in the worst possible ways. I don't usually go looking there unless I have to, but Claire deserved every effort. I had to check the dark web. If you don't know much about the dark web, let me break it down. It's not all hitmen for hire or anonymous black market deals. Most of it is just unindexed pages, private forums, leaked databases, or shady marketplaces hidden behind layers of encryption. But when it comes to disappearances, certain sites have been known to share information long before authorities catch on. Some of these forums claim to be for true crime enthusiasts. Others are less subtle, listing people who have gone missing under headings like unresolved cases, or, more disturbingly, gone but not forgotten. I knew what I was looking for. Any mention of a 23-year-old woman vanishing in Fairview Park? A match for Claire's photo, name, or initials? Any classifieds, auctions, or cryptic references to recent disappearances? I started with the basic searches. One of the more notorious dark web forums specializes in unsolved mysteries. I won't name it here, but let's just say the people who post there are not casual armchair detectives. I filtered posts from the last 6 months and searched for Fairview Park. Only one result popped up. The thread title was "Fairview Girl, What Happened?" It was posted just 4 days after Claire disappeared. The post was short. Saw someone taken near the park. No police reports yet. Someone cleaned it up fast. This wasn't random. If you know, you know. The user who posted it, 600 Eyes, had no post history, no replies, and deleted their account after making that single comment. No location details, no confirmation it was Claire. But the timing lined up too well. I screenshotted it before it vanished completely. Next, I checked something more disturbing. Certain dark web marketplaces don't just sell stolen data or illicit goods. Some deal in something far worse: information. I searched through one such site which specializes in classified leads. Usually, it's conspiracy theories, blackmail, or files leaked by disgruntled insiders. This time, however, I found a listing titled HW, Seeking Vanishing Girl Details, last seen August 17th. HW. Could that mean Horizon 34, the Reddit user who knew Claire was missing before anyone else? The post had been listed anonymously, but the timestamp showed it was made the same night Horizon 34 deleted their account. Someone was either looking for Claire or looking for someone else who knew what happened. And then there was the worst possibility. Someone was selling information about her. At this point, I had uncovered more than I ever expected, but I was also left with more questions than answers. Who was 600 Eyes? Did they really witness something? If so, why delete their account immediately after posting? Was Horizon 34 actually looking for Claire? Or were they involved? Why did they post on Reddit first, then try again on a dark web marketplace? Were they scared? Were they trying to sell information? Was Claire taken? Or did she stumble upon something she wasn't supposed to see? The convenience store footage showed her looking normal, but the security camera near the park caught her looking over her shoulder. Did she sense someone following her? Why did Claire's phone stop transmitting at 7:34 p.m.? Phones don't just go dark unless they're turned off, destroyed, or deliberately wiped. Who benefits from erasing her last location? What happened in the 2 missing minutes of surveillance footage? The footage skipped from 7:38 p.m. to 7:40 p.m., the exact moment Claire was last seen. Was this a glitch, or was the camera tampered with? What was the shadow on the trail? A person, a coincidence, or something far worse? I don't have the answers yet. But someone does. Some disappearances happen in broad daylight. Some leave behind evidence. Some get solved. Claire Whitman's case is none of those things. She walked out of her apartment one evening and vanished, leaving behind nothing but fragments, glitches in surveillance footage, a deleted Reddit post, a cryptic message on the dark web. Maybe she was taken. Maybe she knew something she wasn't supposed to. Or maybe, just maybe, she was never meant to be found. I'm not stopping here. If you know something, anything, contact me. Anonymously if you have to, because Claire is still out there somewhere and someone knows exactly why. And they're not talking. Surveillance footage is one of the most powerful tools in solving disappearances. A single frame can reveal what happened in someone's last known moments. But in Claire Whitman's case, the most crucial footage, the final moments before she disappeared, doesn't exist. It was erased, or worse, deliberately manipulated. And I needed to find out why. Claire was last seen on a public park trail at 7:36 p.m. The security camera, one that wasn't included in official police reports, recorded her walking. She slowed down, looked over her shoulder, tensed up. Then, at 7:38 p.m., the footage cuts out. When the recording resumes at 7:40 p.m., Claire is gone. 2 minutes. 2 missing, unaccounted for minutes where something happened to Claire. At first, I considered the simplest explanation: a technical failure. Security cameras, especially older models, aren't perfect. They overheat, lose power, or experience hard drive corruption. But there was one major problem. The rest of the footage was completely fine. I went through the entire night's recording frame by frame. No other skips, no dropped frames, no errors. Just those 2 minutes missing, right when Claire disappeared. That's not a malfunction. That's deliberate. If the footage was erased on purpose, someone had to do it. I had to consider 2 possibilities. Someone accessed the footage remotely. Someone physically deleted the footage at the source. I checked the camera's model. It was a Hikvision 4 MP outdoor unit, a standard surveillance camera with remote access capabilities. That meant someone with the right credentials could log in and erase footage from anywhere in the world. But this was a city-owned camera, likely controlled by local authorities or maintenance crews. Accessing it would require insider knowledge or a sophisticated cyber intrusion. So I dug deeper. Every time someone accesses a security system remotely, there's a log, a record of the connection. Using publicly available OSINT tools, I ran a Shodan search, a database that scans for open security cameras and IoT devices. The results? That particular camera had a remote access port open. And someone logged in at exactly 7:39 p.m., the minute after the footage cut out. Whoever accessed it did so while Claire was disappearing. They didn't erase the footage afterward. They erased it in real time. This led me to another chilling theory. Was someone watching Claire in real time? If so, that meant they knew where she was. They were tracking her movements. They had the power to erase digital evidence as it happened. This isn't normal. This is sophisticated. Could this be the work of a single individual? Unlikely. It felt bigger than that. Which brought me back to a disturbing possibility: organized abductions. With the time gap now confirmed as manipulated, I had to ask, what happened in those 2 minutes? Here's what we know. Claire noticed something before the footage cut out. A shadowy figure was present in the distance. The footage was remotely accessed during the time she disappeared. That leaves three possibilities. 1. She was taken by force. Someone was already waiting for her on the trail. She may have tried to run, fight, or scream, but no one heard her. The perpetrator removed her quickly before the footage resumed. 2. She knew the person. She wasn't immediately alarmed. Maybe she stopped voluntarily, thinking it was someone she knew. The abductor lured her in, then acted quickly. 3. She left on her own under duress. Was Claire forced to go somewhere? Did someone threaten her in a way that made her comply quietly? If so, that might explain why no one heard anything. If Claire was taken, who erased the footage? I followed a paper trail, searching public records for who controlled the surveillance system. Here's what I found. The camera was maintained by a private contractor hired by the city. That company had a history of cybersecurity lapses, and one of their former employees had gone missing 3 years prior. Coincidence? Maybe. But when I reached out to the company for comment, I got zero response. Not even a polite, "We can't discuss this." Just silence. As I kept digging, I found something worse. Claire isn't the only person who vanished with a missing time gap in security footage. In the past 5 years, 4 other disappearances in different cities had eerily similar details. Victim last seen near a surveillance camera. Short time gaps in recorded footage during their disappearance. No other technical failures before or after. And in 2 of those cases, someone later tried to access the missing footage remotely, just like in Claire's case. If this is connected, we might be looking at something much larger than just a random disappearance. At this point, I don't have all the answers. But I do know this. Claire's disappearance was not an accident. The missing 2 minutes were deliberately erased. Someone with remote access covered their tracks in real time. Claire was likely watched, tracked, and taken by someone who knew what they were doing. Who were they? And how many others have they taken? I'm not done investigating. If you know anything, reach out, even if it's anonymous, because this isn't just about Claire anymore.